While everyone was busy sleeping last night, the government announced that it was going to offer a debate on the national ID cards petition. So the petition has got nearly 3 million signatures that went wild at the start of October. The government has now got a date for the debate for that. And in a double whammy for that, they've also set a date for the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill, which is equally contentious. And I'll come back to the dates and when that is in a minute and talk to you more about digital ID in just a moment. But if you do like the content of this channel, please do subscribe below. We are a new channel. We are just getting going. We really do appreciate your likes, your comments, your involvement, and your clicking subscribe. It takes a second. It costs you nothing, but it really does help the channel to grow. And if you like the content, and it really does benefit me as well. So thanks very much. So getting back to the digital ID. Now this is the topic, I think, that after the winter fuel allowance, which has really scuppered Keir Starmer's prime ministership and that of the government. It's really added to the resentment and contempt that people have for the government. So if you remember back at the end of September now, Keir Starmer announced that they were going to introduce digital ID and make it mandatory for everybody to work and rent a house. And he framed it in that it was going to help prevent illegal immigration and stop the channel crossings, which of course nobody believed. Okay, nobody believed that whatsoever. We all know it's a load of hogwash. So this petition said here, it went wild at the start of October. It's gone quiet now, but it's got nearly 3 million signatures. And the government has said now that it's going to have a debate. It's going to debate this petition on the 8th of December 2025. Now, we all know government debates. It's going to come and it's going to say, well, we made a decision. This is government policy. We're going to do it anyway. Because this is exactly what they did in this response down here. When it responded on the 2nd of October, after the massive backlash, at that time it hadn't even reached 2 million, I don't think. But the government responded that, and in its responses, which you can see on the petition page here, it said that the new digital ID will build on the Gov.uk One login and the Gov.uk wallet to drive the transformation of public services. Over time, this will allow people to access government services such as benefits or tax records. Okay, so already it started off at the end of September. It's going to tackle illegal immigration. And it's going to stop people working that shouldn't be working. Okay. Now everybody knows. We've all had a laugh at this. We've all, really taken the piss out of the government because it is literally impossible to have digital IDs to stop people crossing the boat in a channel in a boat rather. And these people that are coming over in the boats and then they are getting into illegal working. An ID card is not going to stop it. We all know that. It's common sense. It was beyond a joke, beyond contempt, and I think Keir Starmer was genuinely thinking that was going to hook the public in and get the public on board because of all the immigration fiasco. And yet everyone's looking at it and they're just thinking, how the bloody hell is having an ID card and having a right to work and right to live checks going to stop somebody who's already doing these things illegally? Of course it isn't. It isn't going to stop it. We all know that. He must have thought that everyone was stupid. He must have thought that was... it must have had a really good hook. It was going to get people in. It was going to and people were going to buy into it. Now, people are a bit wiser than that. I think Keir Starmer's a little bit slow sometimes. He's like a rabbit in headlights, I find, mostly. And he's incapable of... seems to be incapable of having any original thought. It all seems to be crafted and made for him. But nonetheless, this statement, over time, this system will allow for people to access government services, such as benefit or tax records. So already it's expanded, already there, without needing to multiple layers of logins and provide physical documents. I'll come back to all this in a minute because I've got a lot more to say on this. It will significantly streamline interactions with the state, saving time and reducing frustrating paperwork. Yeah, because we all love doing the paperwork, don't we? And it will save time. There is some practical stuff into it. There are some benefits to it. There are some genuine real life benefits. That no, it would save time. It would make things easier, and that's what they're relying on. They're relying on the convenience factor. They're relying on everybody to say, okay, well, look, my life's going to be really difficult if I don't do it, so I might as well just do it. And that's how people are getting hooked into it already. And again, I'll come to see in a mix. People are being hooked in already, by the one login system. I think 3 million, 4 million. I don't know the number of people that's actually now logged into that, but several million people have already signed up to the UK government one login system. And this is said, this will build on the one. This is the spine of the entire digital ID thing. The one login is the thing that is connecting everything together. That is what's connecting all the government services. That is what's giving you your unique number. That is how everything will. One login will give you access to your NHS and everything else. But again, we'll come to that in a minute. So I did say that there were two things that were listed for debate, and the other one is the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill. Now, I think this is typical double speak, isn't it? This has got far less signatures, but it has been listed for debate. The Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill. It sounds great, doesn't it? The focus on children's well-being, but whenever the government talks well-being, we have to quite ask ourselves, what's it really talking about? And in this case, it's talking about multiple things. First of all, it is talking about effectively outlawing home education as we know it, and changing the balance of power so that the state has the deciding factor over whether your children could be home educated or not, and how that education is delivered to your children. So the state will be the one that has the majority power. It will allow state access to your child's home, to your home, any point it wants. It will allow the state unfettered access to your child. Maybe we're not even you in the same room. It will allow the state to say, no, you can't home educate, you must send your child to school, even if school has failed your child, if your child's got special needs, or your child is super brainy, or your child just doesn't fit the school thing, and you've just decided, because it's a more holistic upbringing, as many, many thousands of people do, have decided that the school system, and the education system as it is, isn't fit for purpose, which arguably is not. Arguably, our education system is a massive failure. But we'll come to that another day. The government wants to stop you having the choice to home educate your child and make that decision for you. And I can guarantee that local authorities already want to extend their powers, and as local authorities will turn around and say, no, we're not going to allow X family for doing it. And there could be any kind of reasons there, but they don't even need a reason. They can just say, no, we're not going to approve it. And then you'll have to try and appeal it, which you probably won't win. And so if you have a child that doesn't fit the system, if you have a child that you feel will be better educated at home rather than at school, and that you can provide a better education than the schools can, you won't be allowed to do it without the state's permission. Okay, the second, and I think probably just as bad, if not worse, in some ways, part of this bill, which has been very little talked about, but it's one of the reasons why it's generated enough signatures to guarantee a debate, that this will introduce effectively ID cards for children. Okay, this bill complements nicely the ID card bill that hasn't even been drafted yet, but the ID card programme, and effectively will create a unique identifier for your baby from the day it's born. In fact, from the day you first come out of hospital. The baby will have a number from the day you first turn up at hospital, and that will follow you through to your maternity records. Obviously, be linked to your record. It'll be linked to social care already. From the day you turn up at hospital, this will track your child through its education. It'll track your child's birth. It'll track your child's disabilities and health records. It will track any misdemeanors of childhood through the crime system. So even if your 7 or 8 year old child steals a sweet from the shop, and assuming that sweet's worth more than £250, and the police can be bothered to do anything about it, your child could be prosecuted or could get a mark on their record at the very least. And that mark on their record, A, will be linked to your record, and that could give you a bad parenting mark, and B, can be linked to their record for the rest of their life. So they could be 25, applying for their first job after they've been to university, for the sake of argument, and it comes up with the record, say, you stole a sweet from this shop when you were 7 years old. Now, that could be on the record, theoretically. But the point is, it's another connecting thing. It's connecting every aspect of that child's life from the day it is born that will feed seamlessly into the digital ID architecture that's already being constructed. And so this is and there's a whole lot of other stuff about that is to do with children's well-being and other stuff. Is okay in that. But this is what the governments do. That they'll bury some nefarious, negative, detrimental legislation within some things that sound really cosy and lovely, like the Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill. It's about children's well-being. What can possibly be wrong with that? We all support children's well-being. We all think that children should be supported, loved, cared for, and protected from harm. Okay, except, this time, hiding within this bill is this, creating this unique identifier for children, and linking through to children's ID. So this one is due to be debated on the 1st of December 2025. Now, I think for both of these, they'll be whitewashed out of, there won't be any real debate. The government will make some noise. You see how they debate in Parliament. You'll see what they do. The government's going to make some noise. The opposition will make some noise. There'll be some cross-party tittle-tattle. There might be some backbench tittle-tattle. But the government's majority of several hundred, will make sure this goes through, assuming that the government doesn't fall and Keir Starmer doesn't lose his job before that or doesn't resign before that. However, this is going through. These things, these aren't just Labour bills. These are coming through under the Tories as well. So don't make the mistake of thinking that this was just a Labour bill, because I think this one was introduced by the Tories. It's been pushed through by Labour after the election. It's still not in the final point yet, but it's not far off now. So going back to digital ID, and this is the reason I set up this channel in the first place. I am passionately against digital ID. And I think you should be too. I think this is the slippery slope to a total totalitarian, dominating communist state, where everything is monitored and controlled by the government and approved or denied. And ultimately can possibly lead to the credit scoring system, social credit scoring system rather, like they have in China, where they will allow you to do things or not to do things based on how well you've behaved, or things you've done today, or they might allow you to not buy things, or they might not access things. It's not there yet. But, okay, I want to just go back, okay, and remember, I just want you to remember for a moment that when Keir Starmer first talked about digital ID, it was just about immigration. It was just preventing illegal immigrants from renting a house, buying a house, or getting a job. That's what it was about. That's what it was pitched as. Okay, within days of that, literally within days of that, this remit is being expanded and expanded. Now, I've just gone on to ChatGPT and asked it to bring me through, the instances where ministers or people in government or people in the Tony Blair Institute have said that this is going to, that there are other use cases for this, that there are other things they want to use it for. And I also want to just touch on one login as well, which I will do shortly. However, so let's just have a look at this. Okay, this is I've asked ChatGPT to pull this together. These are things. So back on the 25th, 26th of September, this is when Keir Starmer announced it, saying it's going to make, tackling illegal immigration and make borders more secure, cracking down on illegal working and the shadow economy. As already discussed, we know it's complete bullshit. Absolutely horseshit. There's no way that a digital ID card will do that. It won't achieve that. It won't stop people coming over in dinghies. It's not going to deter the gangs that are abroad or sending these people over here. It's not going to deter anyone from doing anything. And when these illegal immigrants turn up in the UK, they're not going to go, oh my goodness, I don't have a digital ID. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to leave now and go back on a boat. Let's get a boat the other way. No, they're not going to do that, are they? Of course they're not. These are the guys that are throwing their passports in the water as they're travelling across the country, across the sea as it is. But it's going to make no difference. We all know that. We all know it. Okay, so moving forward, okay, Liz Kendall, she was at the time Secretary of State for Science and Innovation and Technology. She said that about digital ID, okay, that it's again here it's not silver bullet, but mandatory and digital for all employers. Okay, I do have to ask now, why do British citizens, people that are born, bred, and raised in Britain need to have a digital ID to work in the UK, or to rent a house, or to buy a house, for example? Why do British citizens need to do that? Surely it should just be the immigrants who have to do that and not us. But I think the system's so messy they've got no choice but to do it for everybody. However, okay, she said it generates actionable intelligence on rogue employers not doing proper checks. Okay, how does it generate any intelligence on rogue employers? Rogue employers are not declaring already. They're not telling you. They're not telling the government. They're not paying taxes. They're not telling you what they're hiring. It's all cash in hand. These are the car washes, the barber shops, the vape shops, etc., etc. There's all cash deals, isn't it? It's all cash backwards and forwards. So there's no track and trace there. Now, I was going to pause on the cash issue for one moment, because I think, and this is going to be used, and I think this is a big thing, this is going to be used as a big reason to scrap money, to scrap cash, and have it all digitised. Okay, so this illegal immigrants using cash is going to be the thing that they say they need to clamp down on, even, or crack down on, whatever the word is, that they want to crack down on use of cash by illegal immigrants running in the shadow economy, and by any UK citizens working in the shadow economy doing things in cash that aren't tracked and traced by the government. And they're going to dress it up as fraud. But no, I think they're going to use this immigration thing as a reason to bring in central bank digital currency. We have to be really careful what we wish for here, because yes, the black economy, both for immigrants and for British citizens generally, does involve a lot of cash. Always has, always will. And this will be one of the things that I can guarantee you now, that they're going to bring it up and they're going to say this is a reason to scrap cash and have to be able to stop the illegal use of cash for illegal purposes. So while we're talking about illegal immigrants using cash in a shadow economy, we do not want to get that wrapped up in let's stop cash and let's have a CBDC. We do not want to do that, because that'll be even worse. That'll be making your currency programmable, tieable to you, track and traceable, and make it effectively completely digital prison system. There is talk about that by 2028, by the way, already. But I want to save that for another day, another video. So this is where digital ID is leading. So just park that one, just hold that thought there for a minute. Okay, it's not going to make any difference to people doing things illegally. People doing things illegally will do them illegally already. Okay, again, tackling illegal working and illegal immigration, we know it's not. It creates a level playing field for employers who follow the rules. No, it doesn't. Okay, no, it doesn't. Employers that follow the rules already have a level playing field. Okay, it isn't difficult. The ones that follow the rules, the people that follow the rules, the employers that follow the rules, the citizens that follow the rules, it makes it more difficult for us to. We have all this extra layers of bureaucracy and management and challenges and proving ourselves all the time, and whereas people doing it illegally don't have any of that. Okay, it's not going to make things easier again. So, and then again in Murray Minister, 31st October, it will help prevent illegal work. It won't. We've done that. Deter illegal immigration. No, it won't. And again, reiterating about digital right to work checks. Nonsense. Pat McFadden, Immigration and Benefits Department. So now this is where it starts expanding. This is where digital ID starts spreading out there, and the true purpose and the true thoughts behind this, where it comes in. So people who exercise rights are people entitled to rights. Okay, this is coming under, if you want to apply for immigration, you want to apply for benefits or anything else that will interact with the government. Okay, so if you want to exercise your right to travel, you have to get a digital ID for your digital driving license or your digital passport. So that's what it's saying. People exercise rights are people entitled to rights. and they're going to say that your right will be tied to your digital ID. No, without digital ID, you don't have the right. That's what they're going to say. Again, they're going to say it's going to be harder for people without status to work illegally. No, it's not. They do it already. The only way they can stop that is by banning cash. We've discussed that one already. And then this BISI, this is some super governmental organisation, a Bank of International Settlements and something, I think. But so again, mandatory digital ID for the right to work presents as essential for tackling illegal immigration, and then projected a 2 billion fiscal improvement via fraud reduction and efficiencies. Well, again, they're going to use fraud time and time and time again. This is what they do. So this is a problem. This is how we're going to solve it. Fraud will always happen. People will always find a way around it. Even if it's digital ID and everyone has a phone and the app on their phone, what if someone steals your phone? That's got your digital ID, your access to your bank, to your life, to everything else, your way of proving who you are. And if someone gets access to your phone and has got your digital ID, fraud will still happen. There will be digital ID identifications created that are fraudulent. It's bound to happen. I know that, say if you're working in the police or secret services or whatever, and you're creating a new identity for a person to protect them, you're going to have to create a whole new identity on the digital system, a whole new infrastructure on the digital system. So that will have to be possible to create a new identity for existing adults. That's going to have to be possible. And it's going to have to be distinctly separated from the existing identities to avoid them being linked on the systems. So if it's possible for one group of people, it'll be possible for criminals as well. And then again, we're going on further down. Going on to 2 billion fiscal improvement. Well, it's going to cost at least that to implement, and probably a lot more. Previous attempts to introduce massive IT systems and massive new events across the country, everything to go by, it's going to cost many, many billions of pounds more than that. And I think we can largely write that off as a pinch of salt. It's just a figure plucked out of the air to make it sound like we're going to save some money somewhere along the line. I don't think we are. I think it's going to cost us far more money than that, to be honest. And then going down, so it says it's got easier access to government services on one digital key. Okay, now we're getting into the meat and juice of this. I said earlier on we'll come back to the one login thing with the government. This is what this is all about. Okay, the one login system is digital identification, is digital ID. That is how they're hooking everybody in. Now, if you're a company director, they want you to do it now. If you want to, some people have said already that renewing your driving license, already they're asking for it. For renewing a certain other government things, they're already asking for it. And I think the last time I heard, something 3 or 4 million people have signed up for it, and I had heard up to 10 million, but I don't know how to verify that at the moment. I will look into that another time. But again, this is saying digital ID will give you more control of your life. Let me ask you, do you feel like you're not in control of your life already? Do you feel that? Really? Do you feel that having a digital ID is going to give you more control over your life? And if so, how? And if you do think so, please do put it in the comments, because I would love to know how you think digital ID is going to give you more control over your life. Please do put that in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And then moving on. Let citizens prove identity and access to key services swiftly. Now, I think this is a really key one. This is proving your identity and access to key services. If my mouse isn't on the cable, it'll work better. So this is suggesting access to key services swiftly. So this is suggesting that almost every area of your life is going to be accessed by your digital ID. Anything you do now on the government website, whether that's universal credit, whether that's on a pension system, whether it's on a DVLA system, whether it's on government gateway, whether it's on anything else to do with any government systems whatsoever, they are going to come together. Oops, knocking my water over there. They're going to come together on the one login system and the UK digital ID, and they will be all accessed by that service, and it'll be almost impossible to do it. Already, company directors are finding it very, very difficult not to get into one login. I'm looking into this myself right now. As a company director, I need to find this out. And again, moving on, this is going to be a bit of a long video, so do bear with me. Okay, so down here it says, applying for driving licenses. This is yep, and then this is on 20th of September again. No access for childcare. Okay, accessing childcare. So further down, it does say down here, in fact, childcare link like Finland. Online registration uses a verified income data to automatically calculate the fee and no pay slips. But it'll be more than that, won't it? No, it'll be logging your childcare provision to your ID. Potentially saying that you're a good parent because you book childcare and you're still going to work. Yeah, amazing. But also that'll be tracking where your child is and tracking where you are on that system as well. At the moment, these are all separate systems, and they should say all separate systems, in my opinion, because separate systems, if they're hacked, are hacked separately and individually. Okay, and this brings I'm going to interject about hacking here for a minute because this is a massive thing. Huge thing is data breaches and hacks and leaks, but particularly data breaches and hacks. We have seen this year Jaguar Land Rover, massive hack. It's brought down their entire company. It cost them £1.5 billion and probably more. All their ancillary companies that supply and support them, it's cost them many hundreds of millions of pounds as well. The Co-op had a massive hack earlier in the year, and they're still not back to normal yet. I think this is earlier in 2025. They had this big data hack, and they're still not offering cashback on some places, and they've not long had the shelves restocked. Marks and Spencer's the same. They had a big data breach. It crippled their company for many weeks, possibly months, in many aspects, made their life very difficult indeed. And there are countless examples of this, including the government's own One Login. That has already been breached by all accounts. Apparently they've been doing testing for that in Romania and having some stuff from that in Romania on unsecured servers. Again, I can't prove that at the moment, but I have read that elsewhere. But the One Login system itself, by all accounts, hasn't passed the most basic levels of security. And therefore has been hacked and is accessible and will be easily accessible by criminals. Okay, and let's just go one step further with that just for a moment. Supposing you get a Trojan onto your computer or onto your phone, and that Trojan then will copy your keystrokes, it will copy your screenshots, and it will give criminals access to your One Login on your computer or on your phone. They will then have access to your entire ID, to everything you do, every place you've been, all your most important things, your health records, your insurance records, etc., etc. And I'm going to assume here that as a user, as a subject, we have access to all of our data. And that's probably a dangerous thing to assume, because we probably won't. But again, that's a subject for an entire other day. Going on for this, okay, it says it's going to claim, if you want to claim welfare benefits. Okay, so access childcare, driving licenses, welfare benefits, streamline your tax records. So already, this is on the same day, effectively, as the Keir Starmer first announced it. This is already being used to expand it. And this is already coming on for your tax records. If you run a company, this is a limited company particularly, this is already coming in now. For sole traders, this is coming in next year for Making Tax Digital. And again, this is something for another day, but Making Tax Digital is another forced use of the One Login system, where you, if you're running a sole trader or a company that's not a limited company, you will have to do company returns financial returns 4 times a year, plus your main return, and other times has five lots of tax returns you have to do over the course of a year on the One Login system. Okay, it's not streamlining access. This is the government actually, and I'll do a whole thing about HMRC another day, because they are way overstretching their remit, in my opinion, and the things they can access and what they can do, including tracking when you've been on holiday, including tracking your social media, including tracking what you're doing, whether you're spending on PayPal or on any other payment provider or eBay or any other service where you're selling things. HMRC are tracking them, and this will streamline that and make it much easier for them to track you. They'll be tracking everything you're doing, and they are doing this already. But again, I'm going to come back to this another day, so we're going to stick to digital ID just for now. Okay, I just say it's going on a bit, so if you're still with me now, do put it in the comments that you're still with me. Just put still here. I do appreciate it if you are. Okay, because this is going on for some time. But these are the digital IDs going on further and further and further. So we've covered those ones already. We said travel applications, driving licenses, passports and benefits, yes. Again, saying that change of address once and not across multiple systems. Okay, this is a benefit. I have to say that already. It is a benefit. But we don't need digital ID to do that. Okay, that does not need to be part of our digital ID system. Now, some of these things will be really helpful, will be really good for us to use, but it doesn't need to be tracked and traced and monitored and controlled by a central government database. Okay, then it goes on. It says it can reduce fraud in banking and making online banking style security standards for other services. It could work like a mobile banking app, secure, simple identity layer. And then it goes on to some other technical stuff here, which I'm not going to go into too much detail for, but again, it's on about bringing in more taxes, better targeted crisis support, reduced benefit fraud, etc., etc. Okay, so you can see here, and this goes on and on and on. There's several different aspects of this. You've got the age verification for age-restricted products. Okay, this ties into the Online Safety Act. No, this is a big one where it ties into the Online Safety Act, because we're already seeing many websites restricting access to UK users unless you're over 16 and proving your ID. So they're already trying to use compulsory digital ID to access websites. Okay, and do it with children now, under the guise of protection and safety. Okay, it's always happened. It's protecting them from paedophiles, protecting them from explicit content, protecting them from violence, etc., etc., etc. It sounds lovely. It sounds great. But it's not the reality. The reality is that this is going to be expanded and expanded and expanded, so it covers internet access for everybody in the UK. And probably further around the world, because that's similar things happening elsewhere in the world. But we're focusing on the UK here. So they are, the Online Safety Act, there's already talk of doing it. There's already talk of expanding it to other uses. It's already being overreached. It's already being, pushing the boundaries out there. But it is part of this whole digital prison that's being created, where everything that you do will require your digital ID. And that's including the online use. So every web page you go onto, every place you go, everything you do, everything you look at, how long you looked at it, will be tracked, traced, monitored and recorded. And if ever a question about you, if anything ever comes up about you, it's all there. All we have to do is get AI to go in and make a profile for you, which it will do automatically, by the way. Okay, they're already talking about this. The AI is very, very heavily involved in all of this, and it will automatically be profiling you already, and it will be bringing up future crimes potential for you. It will be doing this, including potential fraud, including things you may do in the future. Now, this is being actively talked about, and it is actually happening with HMRC as we speak. They are using AI across the board to try and catch you out. It's not to help you. There's nothing there to help you. It's just to try and catch you out and to bring in more revenue. The Making Tax Digital is a great example, because the AI will be used on that to know when you've missed your deadline by a day and issue an automatic £100 fine, and then automatically take that from your bank account immediately. And the government can already access your bank accounts, by the way. This is coming in, or has come in already, I'm not sure, it's very near. They can automatically withdraw money directly from your account for fines, for benefit overpayments, for taxes, for anything else that they deem necessary. They are now getting the right to access your account and to take money directly from you or your business. This is not fiction. This is not conspiracy theory. This is reality. This is what is coming. This is what's happening. And it's all being tied to this digital ID system. But it is all coming in through the back door, through other acts, through other purposes, through like the One Login, through the Online Safety Act, through the Children's Schools and Wellbeing Bill, through the one that passed earlier in the year, the Data Sharing and Something Other Act, that already passed, and it's basically give them access to anything they want to give access to anywhere online and digitally. And numerous other legislations that are currently in the pipeline already passed. They're bringing together and creating this digital prison. Do not think for 1 minute that the technology isn't there to do this. And I keep hearing it online. Said people saying the technology is not there yet. The technology is not there yet. It absolutely is there. Okay, it wasn't there in COVID. This is when they tested the COVID vaccine passports, and it was a test. The whole thing, the whole scam there, it was set up as a test to see what they could get away with, to see how far people would be pushed before they push back. And people did push back in the end, and they did push back, and they stopped it all. They stopped the restrictions, they stopped the things that were going on, and then created the Ukraine war as a sideline and a distraction. But again, that's another story. But the point is that the technology wasn't there in 2020, in 2021, when they were doing these things. But believe me, they've been working solidly for the last 5 years to build that technology, to make it happen, to bring in the necessary legislation. Because that's something else I've seen. There's a lot of people say the legislation doesn't exist. It will require further primary and secondary legislation to make these things work. No, rest assured they are doing it if they haven't done it already. The legislations that have gone through Parliament, ones that are going through Parliament, these things are happening. Okay, and they might know that where the digital ID card itself, may possibly be scrapped by somebody, maybe by reform, maybe by not getting through. The infrastructure for it is being created already through the One Login, through the Children's Wellbeing Bill that's creating single points of access to data, through numerous other legislation that's connecting all the data together. It's already being built. So they won't need in the end an ID card act or whatever. That they will have everything they need brought together from every other location. And they're saying that it's going to be free of charge for you. And they will give it to you because it's very generous of them to give it to you free of charge, isn't it? It's extremely generous to give it to them free of charge, where you have to pay for your driving licence and your passport. But what they haven't told you is if you opt out of it and you don't want to use digital ID, they're going to charge you for proving who you are. And then the companies will charge you 40 quid, 70 quid, 80 quid, 100 quid a time to prove who you are. Where at the moment you just send off your documents and they do it for free. They send off your photocopy of your driving licence or your passport, or you take a picture of it on your phone now and send it to them. I opened a bank account last year, and all I had to do was send them photographs of my passport and my driving licence, and the utility bill, and they were photographed, and then I did a face scan for it on the banking app, and then it verified me. I had the account up and running within 15 minutes. Okay, that wasn't difficult. It didn't need an ID to do it. It did not need an ID, a digital ID. Okay. And then it goes on and on and on and on and on here. It says 1 in 10 adults lack a passport or driving licence. So this free thing will give everyone access. Uniform. It'll break down the boundaries, except it won't break down the boundaries for homeless people, for old people, for people who don't want to use a smartphone, people who don't know how to, like autistic people or people that are disabled in some other way. And where it says promises face-to-face support for non-smartphone options. It may do initially. It may do to begin with. But I can guarantee this will be charged for in the end. This is not about inclusion at all. This is about getting everybody, it's getting everybody into the system. But it's not really working, is it? It's not good. No, we have to push back against this. So I've gone off long enough here. You can do your own research on here. If you want to read through the rest of these things. It says that protects vulnerable British citizens from being wrongly denied their rights. This is from Labour Together, backed by Tony Blair. But it won't. If you lose your ID or your ID gets stopped or some technical glitch or some data hitch, it'll do the opposite. That vulnerable people will be unable to access themselves at all. Even you and I, competent, able people will be excluded from accessing our data. It's already happened in Estonia, it's happened in India, it's happened in other places around the world where there have been technical glitches, where there have been breaches, where there have been problems with the infrastructure, of the architecture. And so it happened. We know it happened. We know it's going to happen. it does not make end exclusion at all. It just makes it worse. Yeah, not about running for utility bills. Most of us have got a box with all our bills chucked into it, or a drawer if you're organised like me. With your things you can just go and get, or I've got some of mine now just scanned onto my computer, and I can just drag it in, send it off in an email if I need to send it off in an email to somebody. It's not difficult to get those things. It's not difficult at all. Then it goes on to things like reporting potholes or road repairs. I can do that now anonymously. I don't need my ID. I don't need to prove who I am to report a pothole or any other, or a missed bin collection. I can just say my bin's being missed, or I forgot to put it out, or whatever it is. That doesn't need to be tracked to my ID, does it? Really? And then it goes on about the NHS and etc. etc. So what the point I'm getting to is on about accessing your healthcare, accessing your benefits, and so on and so on. So there are endless connections and uses of digital ID already. Absolutely endless. So what started off as a one-topic thing is immigration prevention. Already we've got dozens and dozens of things that are going to come and use it. And if we're not very careful, we won't be able to live life without it. You won't be able to watch this video without it. They'll know when you have. You won't be able to sign into YouTube. I had to do digital ID, not there, but I had to prove myself to get onto this YouTube channel. I didn't like it and I had to do it, but that belongs to YouTube. It doesn't belong to the government. But we will have to access or use our digital ID to access everything. And it will know where you are, what you've done. It'll track where you've been. It'll track every time it's been clicked on or approved. It will be linked to central bank digital currencies. It will be linked to your movements, to your phone records, your internet records, your children's records, your health records, to your crime records, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, I'm going to keep banging this drum, and I'm going to keep doing videos about it. It's really, really important. However, if you got this far today, well done. Thank you very much for watching. I will come back to it another time. Please do leave a comment, like and subscribe. If you got to the end of it, put I got to the end and put a thumbs up, because I'd really love it if people get to the end of these videos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.